But we begin our report with over 88 million Americans from coast to coast under excessive heat warnings and advisories. The South and West are seeing record-breaking temperatures, and it's not just the temperature that's going up. It's the duration of the hot days that's notable. On Monday, Phoenix, Arizona tied its 1974 record of 18 consecutive days of heat over 110 degrees. And the new record is going to stretch. Temperatures are expected to stay that high for at least another week. This extreme weather is triggering wildfires in some parts of the West, and in the Northeast, heavy storms brought deadly flash floods over the weekend. At least 5 people are dead, and 2 young children are missing in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, as a result of the storms. We'll have more from our Lana Zak in Pennsylvania, but Jonathan Vigliotti starts us off from Beaumont, California, just east of Los Angeles.
And John, good evening to you. We're standing in the burn scar of the Rabbit Fire, which over the weekend quickly exploded to 7,600 acres before fire crews were able to gain the upper hand. Across the West, the heat is causing havoc.
Out of the frying pan and into Phoenix.
It is miserable being outside unless you're in the water somehow.
Today, a record-tying 18th straight day where temperatures topped 110 degrees. The outlook, brutal. Arizona's power grid is meeting demand even as residents set a new record for electricity use. In neighboring California, this wildfire in a rugged area north of San Francisco. In the state's scorching Central Valley, there's no relief. Jeff Smith is with Pacific Gas and Electric.
You've got really hot temperatures that don't cool down at night. That can be really taxing on the electrical equipment. And so that's when you start to see transformer failures.
Then there's Death Valley.
We might be talking about some of the hottest temperatures ever recorded.
On Sunday, 128 degrees during the day. At 1 a.m., it was 120, one of the hottest nights ever on Earth. The heat dome now stretching from the desert Southwest all the way to South Florida, Miami-Dade County with its first ever excessive heat warning. In Salt Lake City, the asphalt buckled. And in Connecticut, country music star Jason Aldean was overcome by heat during a concert.
It was a combination of dehydration and just heat exhaustion.
This fire in Riverside County, east of Los Angeles, forced 1,000 people from their homes. And what looks like rain relief is not. It's dry lightning. And lightning is what sparked that fire. Firefighters battling to bring it under control.
And tonight, thousands of acres across the state are freshly charred. Wildfire season has gotten off to a late start, but with so much heat and now so much dry vegetation, officials warn of a potentially explosive season ahead. John?
Jonathan Vigliotti in Beaumont, California. Thank you, Jonathan. Let's turn back to Pennsylvania, where our Lana Zak is standing by. Lana, first of all, what's the latest on the search for these missing children, the ones who went missing in the floodwaters?
Well, we heard from their uncle that they expect that their commitment to bring home Maddie and Conrad is absolutely unwavering. But the search is continuing overnight, and they are expecting more resources to arrive in the state here. It continues to grow. Speaking of heat, as Jonathan mentioned, it's hot here. All of that makes these search efforts all the more difficult, but at least that break in rain has allowed search and rescue efforts to continue, as we really don't know at this point the status of those 2 missing children. One 2 years old, the other as young as 9 months. It is still a search and rescue mission at this point. They are still keeping hope alive.
And there's a break in the rain. Is that it, or might it come back?
It's expected not to rain here tomorrow. Those rescue efforts are still counting on that, but throughout the Northeast, expect a lot more rain. And one of the things that they were saying here in the press conference, the fire chief who was heading up this search and rescue effort, the danger of the flash flooding, how violent and sudden it is. I have to tell you, we were over at the stream that was just really a little creek that all of a sudden, after 1 hour of rains that brought 5 to 7 inches here into Bucks County, Pennsylvania, brought up the water level by about 5 feet off of the ground. That's how the flash floods work. It is dangerous, it's sudden, and it is violent. And so you really have to listen to authorities when you get that caution.
Lana Zak. Thank you, Lana. CBS News senior weather and climate producer David Parkinson joins us now in Studio 57 with more. So, David, what's behind all of this extreme weather?
Yeah, so right now, the unfortunate thing that we've had, John, is we've had a pattern that just doesn't move. This has basically been the pattern, if you take a look at this, of the jet stream for, I want to say, the better part of a month. So June 15th was the last time where we had a cool-ish day in Texas. The record in Phoenix has gone back just to before the beginning of the month, but it's the same thing. Essentially, you have this death sort of lock of heat that has been in the Southwest, has been over the Central Plains, and it's not moving anywhere because the jet stream is just trapped where it is. And when you get this kind of thing happening, you get a repeat day after day after day. It's a logjam. Everything in the system isn't moving. And so as a result, all you do is you just lock in the same pattern day after day after day.
And David, there is a theory, or I think this is the theory anyway, that the jet stream, because of climate change or something else, is stuck. I mean, that it's not just stuck now, but that this is a change in the way the jet stream is going to be operating going forward.
Yeah, so the jet stream moves all around the world. It should move in sort of predictable patterns, but it should move in such a way that basically you're never stuck in the same pattern for all too long. The theory, the wavy jet stream theory, is that it does things that are a little bit crazier because the temperature difference between up here at the poles and down here at the mid-latitudes has decreased. So the difference is no longer there. And when you lack that difference, that's when you start to get kind of weird things happening. I should point out that this is not a theory that is widely guaranteed across the scientific establishment. There's a lot of back and forth on it, but that is the gist of the theory. And look, it is holding true in a lot of cases where the jet stream looks amplified in a way that it should not.
And then, so finally, a variety of different people have said, you think it's bad this summer. This might be the coolest summer that you experience as a living human. Is that going too far? Is this the new normal?
No, I don't think that's going too far. I think that we are now in this elevated range. Part of the problem is that the oceans have warmed, and if you know anything about going into the ocean in May, right, like it's still super cold even though it's hot outside, and that's because it takes a long time to change the temperature of the ocean. It's the same thing to cool it down, too. So now we've got these locked-in problems. Here's 18 straight days above 110 degrees in Phoenix, right? These 2 days were not, but we had 3 days before the pattern started. Today we got to 115, that's day number 18. And then if I go out here to the 10-day forecast, look at that. Every single day in that pattern above 110 degrees, most above 115. It's not just that it's getting hotter, it's also that it's getting wetter. Take a look at the 3 states where we've had huge flooding problems: Vermont, New Hampshire, and New York. All of those 6 to 8 additional inches of rain per year. We are seeing these events, but we're also seeing them in the South. We're seeing them in the plains. It's basically just the West where we're not seeing a big annual change in rain. And then the other thing that I want to show you here is the summers since 1970 are getting warmer. Where are they getting warmer? Most importantly, in the Northeast corridor, we've got a huge population. In the Southwest, where we're seeing it, and up and down the Pacific corridor, where we have been seeing that heat. So we are seeing all of the things the models have been predicting coming to life this summer. And if this past is prologue, we will see more of that over the next 20, 30, 40 years, because the fuel to warm the atmosphere is not going away until we stop the carbon emissions, and we have not yet done that.
And even if we do, it's not going to snap back.
Even if we do,
right?
you're right. We're locked into it for a while.
David Parkinson, thank you so much, David.
Sure thing.